Neptunia Sisters vs Sisters is a game bristling with unique characters, vast areas to explore, and most importantly, a combat system that can be shaped by the player themselves. You're going to need all of your wit and skill to overcome the monsters lurking in the shadows, and luckily for you, we are here to help. In this guide, we're going to be looking at all the basics of the different combat systems that you can find in the game, as well as some handy tips to help you reach your full goddess potential. Firstly, let's take a quick look at the UI. In the top right of your screen, you can see your minimap. This is a great tool for helping you keep track of where you are, as well as spotting valuable treasure and dangerous enemies in hiding. This minimap will show both in exploration and combat mode. While exploring near enemies, your UI will change to look like this. In the bottom left hand side of your screen, you can now see which characters are currently in your party, as well as the HP, current action points, tactical gauge, and goddess gauge of each character. We'll get into how these work in a little bit. In combat, your UI will gain a few more uses, as it will also now show in the bottom right a hit counter showcasing how much damage you are currently doing, as well as what hit streak you are on. This number here is your AP gauge, also known as action points. Just below that, we also have the combos that you can unleash, and to the right, the special attacks known as T-skills that you can dish out upon those monsters who stand in your way. Let's now talk about the basics of combat. When you find yourself engulfed by monsters, it's easy to lose your cool and panic. Luckily for you, there are ways to control the battlefield and fight on your terms. By pressing square or X on the controller, you will make an attack. Multiple attacks can be chained in quick succession to make some deadly combos. Attacking will use up your AP, also known as action points. When a character hits 0 AP, they will not be able to attack until they recharge. It is often a good idea to switch between characters to ensure that you never run out. To switch between characters, you can use the L1 or R1 bumpers on your controller. Try doing this when prompted by your teammates, as it will allow them to come in with a devastating chain attack. When your T-skills are ready, you will see them light up in the bottom right corner of the screen and give a prompt on how to perform them. These can vary from heals, buffs, or devastating attacks, and you should use them whenever you can to gain the upper hand. When things are getting rough, or you're against a particularly powerful boss, check on your goddess gauge. If a character's goddess gauge is full, it means you can transform into your goddess mode. This transformation is only active for a limited time, but allows you to decimate those monsters who stand before you, allowing you to constantly use your T-skills, increasing your stats drastically, and it stops your attacks from using up your AP. This can be the difference between winning and losing in a close fight. To activate Goddess Mode, simply wait until the Goddess gauge is full, and then press the touchpad to activate. There is a unique attack you can unleash as a Goddess that is enhanced whilst in this mode, your EXE Drive Special. By pressing L2 and R2 at the same time, you'll perform this powerful ability. Each character has their own personalized EXE special, and these attacks are game changers, often wiping out entire parties of enemies in just one hit. They will, however, use up the remainder of your goddess gauge, therefore ending your goddess transformation. It is best to use this attack when you are near the end of your transformation to make sure you get the most out of your goddess form. You can also use EXE drive attacks when out of goddess mode. These will use up half of your goddess gauge, however, and they will be a little less powerful, so are best used when in serious trouble that need a quick fix, as they will hinder your attempts to transform later on. The goddess gauge fills up as you attack and get attacked, and can quickly be filled up by performing attacks that involve multiple hits or chaining attacks together. There is also a super sneaky way to gain the upper hand on the monsters. If you're able to approach them in the open world without being spotted, try giving them an early strike before going into combat. This will stun the monsters and give you a nice edge at the start of the scrap. In the menu is where you will find some of the best ways to success in Neptunia Sisters vs Sisters. Firstly, we have items. In this tab we can see all the useful equipment we have, such as consumables, armor, and weapons. It is important to check out this tab often to see if you have any new, more powerful weapons or armor, as they can greatly affect the outcome of a battle. Items can be bought at the many shops in the game, awarded for completing quests, or picked up while out on adventures. Make sure to destroy all boxes you see, as they may be hiding important items. The Equipment tab allows you to customize your character's loadout. There is a very useful table here to show you the stats of your equipment, as well as the pros and cons a new weapon or piece of armor brings when equipped compared to your current setup. Up next, we are going to take a quick look at the disc system. Discs are items that you can craft and then equip to characters to give them buffs. Each character can have a maximum of 4 discs equipped at any one time. These buffs come in many different forms, sometimes affecting stats directly, or sometimes granting the character new traits that can affect or give abilities. It is important to experiment with different discs on each of the characters in your party to enhance them in a way that best suits your chosen playstyle. Creating discs is something you should be looking at doing as often as possible, and to create a disc, all you need to do is go to disc development and put together your 3 ingredients: genre, scout, and support item. You will unlock more and more scout options and support items as you explore the world and help people with their quests and missions via the chirper system. Try mixing these 3 elements in different ways to come up with as many unique discs as possible so you're prepared for a multitude of scenarios. It's good to note any discs you don't want can be discarded to recycle some resources. Once you have selected all the elements you want to use to create a disc, simply press square. Discs will take some time to craft, but you can leave your scout to that and pop back in later to pick up the completed disc. Combos are a large part of how combat works in Sisters vs Sisters. Chaining together powerful attacks as your teammates switch in and out allows you to create a barrage of attacks even the toughest monsters may struggle to defend against. The Combo Maker tab in the menu does just what it says. Allows you to create your own devastating combos to unleash upon your opponents. In this menu, you can mix and match attacks and T-skills, exploring what options you have to find the abilities that best suit how you want each character in your squad to play. If you find yourself taking too much damage, try looking for a healing ability to counteract this. Lacking much punch, try exploring some more hard-hitting moves to get yourself back into the fight. Skills are labelled by their power levels, so it is easy to find the best of the best. But if you enjoy an ability that is labelled as weak compared to another, feel free to stick with the one you enjoy. It's all about finding a style that suits and expresses you. You will continue to unlock abilities as you level up, so make sure to check this tab after any major mission to keep your combos up to date and your attacks packing a punch. The Party tab in the menu is vital, as it stores many important systems that will affect your entire party and influence how you play. One of these systems is the Party Formation. This is where you pick your party who will go out on adventures. This is limited to 3 members, and we would highly recommend you always venture out with a full party of 3. It should be noted you will have to switch in and out party members depending on their availability. There's a lot of monsters out there to slay and people to look after, so at different points of the story, different characters will be preoccupied and unavailable. Lily Formation is a support system based off friendship. This is where characters who are currently not in your party can be paired with active members, supporting them and giving them several buffs. These buffs will become more powerful the higher the level of the characters. Formation is where you decide how your party will arrange themselves in combat. At first glance, this may not seem too important, but it can be vital. Placing your tanky combat characters up front to absorb damage can allow for some of the more fragile support or range-focused characters to really shine, knowing that they are protected from the monsters. Lastly, in the Party tab, we have Strategy. This can be a lot of fun. It is a tab where you can select the fighting style of each character in your party. The styles available to you are offensive, defensive, varied, or default, and each of these will affect your characters in a different way. As the name suggests, this will influence how your party members act when you are not in control of them. For support characters such as healers, it is a good idea to keep them as far away from danger as possible, so try going for a defensive strategy combined with keeping them at the back of your formation. This will allow them to stay out of trouble while focusing on support rather than damage. It'll be up to you to explore these stances and find which ones synergize well with the characters in your party. There is no right or wrong answer, so experiment and see what works best with how you enjoy playing. Those are the basics of the many battle systems within Neptunia Sisters vs Sisters, but there is much more to learn for yourselves once you delve into your adventure. Exploration, side quests, and many friendly and some less friendly characters await you. Neptunia Sisters vs. Sisters is out now on PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, as well as Steam. Feel free to follow and like to keep updated with more Neptunia content in the future.